All right. So I'm here talking to Eman. We're going to be talking about what's happening in Sudan. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. This is Eman. I am from Sudan, and I welcome you guys to the broadcast. We're going to be talking today a little bit about what's going on in Sudan, um, and the problems that have been going on for quite a while now. First, I am a regular person. I have no views politically. I don't even like. I don't really like politics.
Yeah.
I started
Really?
like, I'm just a regular person who doesn't like have any idea of just like people our age don't really engage into politics that
Right.
much. And because I think we're just like, it's never leading anywhere. So I've
Yeah.
started like we were in this position that we had to look at what's going on in our country because it's just gotten to this point where there is just no turn back. We had to like everybody agreed, all the cities in Sudan um, revolt,
Yeah.
and yeah, and it's been going on for quite a while now. It's been going on for um, it started in December, so December 2018, and now it's April. And our dictator Omar al-Bashir, is still hanging onto the throne. He's still glued to it. He's still, as all dictators, not ready to give up after 30 years of ruling Sudan.
Jeez. Now, I've seen a few articles that you brought to our attention today. Um, could you tell us a little bit about? I think I heard there was a sit-in, and it's pretty hard right now to be in Sudan. It seems. For me, we don't see much on the news at all, really. So some people watching right now, they might not know anything at all. Um, could you give a little bit of background?
Right. I'm just trying to share this on on my wall so people can see it as well. But yeah, that's another problem, Adam, I think, because yeah, you saying that you're hearing this for the, I don't know, first time. You haven't heard this before. You don't know, and I'm assuming a lot of people, or most people, let's say, in many countries around the world, don't know about what's happening in Sudan, and that's a big, big problem. So the question is why? Why don't people know, and why is the media silent? Um, that is a big question because we have a voice. Um, we've spoken out. People have gone to the streets. People have uploaded videos on the internet. People have created hashtags. People have done whatever there is to be done to seek attention from these from the media. And we have actually asked. We said BBC, CNN, come on, you guys, we are here. This is happening. People are dying. People are being arrested. People are being tortured. People are being killed uh, brutally, and nobody cares. Nobody even just puts it on the news. Some have very shyly spoken about Sudan, but of course this is a huge thing. Whole of Sudan, it's a big country in Africa. It's very strategic. It's very important to a lot of African countries, and let's say also Asian countries. But I don't know why are the media just not listening? Why are they? What's going on? This is a big, big question. So this happened, as I said.
You still there?
Yeah, I don't know if that's okay. Okay, so it started in December, and since then there have been it's been really, really difficult to stay in Sudan. You're not supposed to even speak your mind. People, protesters, normal people like me and you from the streets have decided to speak up, and they went in the streets, and they only protested using their only weapon. The only weapon that they have is the voice. Their voices only. Like this is the most peaceful protest I have ever seen in my life. This has been going on for 4 months now, and it's still peaceful. It's still only your mouth, only your voice is your only weapon. So people for going out, some people even just staying in your home and protecting protesters from the police.
Jeez.
Even that would get you arrested, and even that we have had we call it a shaheed, which is a person who was killed without any crime in his house, protecting his and neighborhood and his brotherhood, and he's an old man. They've knocked on his door and they're like, they're gonna kill us, and he opened the door and put them inside his house, and he got shot, he got killed.
Jeez.
So it's not just a difficult time, it's a horrible time. Every Sudanese person inside and outside of Sudan is suffering because people have been arrested. Like, for example, Al-Bushi in Egypt, he's in his apartment. Okay, he's someone who's spoken out. He's in his apartment in Egypt. The I don't know who in the Egyptian government or somebody took him and gave him um, uh, and they just put him in jail in Sudan. They took him all the way from Egypt to Sudan, and he's still in jail until this moment. So it's a big problem that nobody cares, and this has been going on. People are being killed. Children have been killed. For goodness' sake, children have been killed.
Now, is that like an escalation recently, or has that been just going on like that for 30 years now?
Well, for 30 years we've had a dictatorship. We as Sudanese people are very, very patient. And when a dictator is there and people are just, living, we're like, okay, we have a roof, we have
Right.
some, we have bread and not even butter, like just bread and a little bit of water, and this should not be the case. Sudan is an extremely rich country. Extremely rich country. You have a saying that if you just put a seed in any soil on the street, a tree would come up. We have been known for that. It's extremely rich country with the resources that we have. We have the Nile, right?
Right.
I think that is enough. Like, I don't even want to say what else we have. So agriculture is very rich, but they have destroyed agriculture in Sudan. They have destroyed everything. As you know, dictators just tend to steal and steal and steal because all they want you to have as people is the minimum for you to barely survive. Just have a little bit of food, a little bit of let's say a little bit of not even freedom, but just a little bit of essential life, like electricity. Like, we have people in Khartoum, the capital of Sudan,
Yeah.
until this day don't have electricity. We have people in Khartoum. Let's not mention, because as I said, Sudan is a very big country. Let's just say Khartoum. Supposedly it should be it's the capital.
Right.
You should not see these things in the capital. You can see people living on the streets. It's not like it's not a strange scene to see people living in the streets. We have extremely rich people in Sudan. We do have extremely rich people, and we have extremely poor people. Extremely, not even $1 a day, not even that.
Wow.
So people have gone, from bad to worse to worse to worse. And this generation, I think they just couldn't take it anymore. And people have gone hungry. I have not gone hungry. Okay, I'm well off. But people who have gone hungry and people who have not gone hungry, they united because they said, okay, well, even if Bashir is the best president on earth,
Yeah.
that's it. 30 years is enough. Have you heard of Darfur and what's going on in Darfur?
Not recently. I did. Could you maybe update me and maybe anybody who's watching a little bit?
Well, Darfur is I didn't even know this. I'm Sudanese. Like, I didn't even know the details because there is nothing. We know nothing about it. It's so remotely far away, and all the, let's say, propaganda is showing us that in Darfur there are people who are going to come to you and they're going to destroy you. But what we found out, and of course that I have found out recently, but a lot of other people knew before, is that it's been, there's been a genocide there. They've been bombing entire villages. They've been killing people just like that, just because they don't want them to be there anymore. Just because they're very racist, extremely racist, and they have put this racism into the Sudanese. Everybody in the world fights racism, right? Sudanese government does the exact opposite. It actually feeds racism, and it has been doing that for 30 years because they don't want people to be united, because they know that they're going to be extremely weak. As a government, if people are united, you are black, you're white, you're Arab, you're African, you're I don't know, it's like you're tall and short. Like, this is what I expect them to say.
I hear that.
Tall people and short people should not, be okay together. So it's just never ever ending crime after crime after crime. I can't even remember all of them right now, but people have had enough.
Right.
People have had enough. And whoever spoke, whoever said anything, they were either imprisoned or shot or tortured or all.
Right.
Like, I'm in danger, like me, Eman, I don't live in Sudan. I live in Qatar, and even people who are outside of Sudan are in danger because they can get you. They can get to you. Me and my family, we were willing to take the risk, but we needed to, speak up. We needed everybody to know. We needed the world to know and to support the Sudanese people. Right now, on the 6th of April, which is a very important day for us as well, because it was, if we go back in time, 6th of April was the day that another dictatorship was let's say overthrown by the Sudanese people as well. So the 6th of April is a very dear date to Sudanese people. So on the 6th of April, a million person have gone to a place, it's called Al Qiyada, which is where the military is. People have gone there and have started using, again, their own weapon, their voices, asking al-Bashir to step down and asking the military for help. Right. And what you need to know is that the military and other forces, they're not always in harmony, and they don't always agree. on other things like the police and the special forces and all their little puppies that they have here and there. Um, who not everybody can like categorize them. We don't know. These are people with these are people who are armed, right?
Right.
With heavy machinery in the streets, killing people. I believe you have seen the videos that we've sent you.
Yes, yes, I have.
Uh, they're just shooting people just there. That. And the military is right now is protecting people, but we don't know how much because not all the military is with us, the people. Some of the like big um, uh, decision makers in the military are with El Bashir and his government. He bought them off years ago. Bought them off years ago. There are his keys, so he needs to make sure that they're on his side because of something like this. So he did buy them off years ago with a lot of property, a lot of money, a lot of power as well. So some of the military are with the people, and these are the ones who are protecting people. But what Sudanese people are asking of the military is to protect them and is to actually um, ask the Bashir to step down.
And that makes sense. I mean, um, so moving forward from there, it's like you want like an election for a new president. Before he was in office, was it what was it like before then? I don't know a lot about the history. Um, was there a dictator in Sudan before the current one, or are you guys used to not seeing?
Yeah, there was a dictator, another dictator who came. Well, he actually overthrown that one. He was the one who overthrew the previous one, Numeri. He one day on one morning he just declared that he is the one who's going to save everybody. He was a high military something at that time, and he overthrew Numeri. Um, and and now I think it's happening. Always history repeats itself.
I can agree with you there. So with the events that we've been seeing, it's pretty much looks to me like everybody's just out there. Um, and you talked about how everyone's sort of uniting. Um, Before, was there a lead up to that, a point where you know everyone wasn't united yet? Because I don't really know a lot about what it's like in Sudan um, before it got this bad.
Okay, so these protests have started from the people. Like people just one day went out in the streets and they started calling out for the injustice that's been going on. People were unable to eat. People were unable to to live a decent life. So people were fed up. And that was because of the prices were just going up and up and up and up every day, every day.
Yeah.
We had reached 70 Sudanese pounds. 70,000 Sudanese pounds is $1 at that time. I don't know how much it is now. It's a lot more. But after that, after a while, a Sudanese professional association came and has risen up. Some say that it has been in progress working behind the scenes for a long time before that, since 2013, because there has been protests in 2013 as well. And they killed many people at that time, and then people got scared and everything back to normal. So, so the Sudanese Professional Association came up. Um,
And that's the ASP, right?
yes, the ASP. It did come up out of nowhere. We didn't know. We were like, okay, there's a leader now. The people were very happy that there's a leader who was actually organizing the protests. How are they going to be? What time people should get out? Which days? Because it wasn't always every day. And they would give names to every protest. This protest is for um, the women of Sudan. This protest is for the artists of Sudan. This protest, so it's different names, meanings. They would speak to people, and they have everybody like people were a little bit, like who are they? What do they want? What are they doing? But because of the organization that they have helped with in the protest, because of their involvement in everything,
Yeah.
people have opened up to them and accepted them even more and more. And now a lot of people just don't see anybody else. Like this is what these are our leaders, and these are the people that we follow. So whatever they say, we do. But I remember an incident happening when they said something that not a lot of people like. I don't remember what they said exactly. It was an accidental thing in a forum, and then people said, "Oh, you know what? We don't like how you spoke about this and about that." And they actually said, "Oh, all right. Thank you for telling us. We're sorry. We're going to edit this and we're going to do that." So people are more aware now of their rights. People are more aware now of what of what a leader is. A leader is not like somebody you just, blindly go behind. People are
Because
more aware
I
of.
think Gabe was saying here too to ask you about the doctors. He said there were doctors involved in the ASP as well, I guess.
Yes, so the Sudanese Professional Association is this association, professional association, and one of the professions is the doctors. The doctors of Sudan had a great deal of impact on this revolution. They have had a great deal. They have gone above and beyond what is expected of them. They have,
So
they have
I think I saw in one of your videos too that there were doctors treating people recently.
oh, they've never stopped. Doctors are underappreciated and underpaid, and they do work in inhumane conditions in the let's say the government hospitals of Sudan, because we have private hospitals that are luxurious and stuff, but the government hospitals in Sudan, where you are afraid of a cat coming in and eating an infant, you know what I mean? Like it's really inhumane circumstances that are happening in the government hospitals in Sudan, and they have done a great deal. Like they've helped in the hospitals. They've helped, let's say, when people are protesting. They have like it gives them medicine, because medicine is not provided anymore, and it's not even there. Like even if you have money and you want to buy medicine, it's not available. It's not easy to find that particular painkiller, for example. Asthma inhalers were not there, and these people are just bombing people with gas. They're bombing people with gas, and people couldn't breathe, and we don't have asthma. So people in the doctors of Sudan, inside Sudan and outside of Sudan, have provided the medication and the care that these people needed. And even then, even when they did provide a lot of the things that they've shipped, like the doctors outside of Sudan, when they shipped some of the medicine to Sudan, it was taken away at the airport. It was taken away from them they had to like give every from now on. They said, okay, from now on, every individual person who travels we can give them 4 inhalers. So people would go to the airport, right, and give people 4 inhalers each to carry in their bags, so they can actually go and distribute these to the Sudanese people.
All right. And I think Gabe was mentioning too, um, you guys were looking for some help getting like attention around the world at the different consulates. Um, so what exactly is it that this movement is hoping to achieve, outside of a new president? It sounds like there's a lot of issues. Um, do you guys have anything? Is there anything you could explain to viewers more about, what everyone's kind of hoping to see change moving forward?
It's not about a new president, it's more about a new government, right?
Okay.
This corrupt government as a whole, we don't want them anymore. We've had enough of them. They've eaten Sudan alive as a country and as people. So what we want is, just like everybody else on earth, is democracy. We want to elect our president. We actually want to elect them.
Yeah. See.
Did not have elections. Al-Bashir did not have elections for 20 years. Okay? And after 20 years, he always won. Every time he ran for presidency, he always won by 99.9%.
Wow.
Miraculously, he would always win all the voices of Sudan. I don't know how, but he miraculously, people love him. That's why they're protesting against him. That's why all the cities in Sudan risen up protesting against al-Bashir. Millions of people. We are a lot. We are 40 million.
Wow. You know, after hearing just like even just like a little bit of this, seeing all those people out there standing up, like I'm glad that you guys are doing that. Um,
I'm so proud of them. It's not easy. It's very hot. These people are standing in the heat. These people are standing in danger. They are anticipating a gunshot from anywhere at any time. These people are without water, without food, without shelter from the heat. They're just standing there. People are trying, and they have been very successful at providing the protesters with at least water and food. But it's not as easy as it seems, because the police would not let you go in. They're like, you have to actually sneak in, and how would you sneak in that much water and that much food? And you have to go like by foot. You can't go by a car, because there's like the barriers. You can't go into that place anymore. Who's in is in and who's out is out. It's very, very difficult. So I'm very proud of them, and they have been extraordinary. The Sudanese people have been extraordinary at patience and peacefulness. They have been extremely peaceful. It's very difficult. It's very difficult to be peaceful. It's very easy to turn to violence. Violence. If just remember when you're a kid and you're bullied at school. It's
right.
easy. If somebody pushes you, you would push back. But people and their children and their sisters and brothers and loved ones are being killed, are being captured, are being tortured, are being taken away. And we don't know where they are. We don't know what's going on, what's happening. We don't know nothing about them. It's very difficult to be in such injustice. Sometimes I just cry because of it's like we live in a world that is so unjust. It's so difficult to just ignore all that and move on with your life.
I know the feeling.
Yeah.
So,
So move on.
so within the, so you know, within this, we see this protest that's been going on, as you, I think you were telling me, since December. It really got big, and you know what? Has there been like a progression within the movement in that time, or has it been just like that many people out there for 4 months or more now?
No, there are definitely more now. Since, as I said, the 6th of April. Um, I know that a lot of people even traveled from other cities to come to Khartoum and protest that day. That's how much that day meant. The Sudanese Professional Association, um, they asked us to speak up and let everybody know everywhere in Sudan about the 6th, because there's another problem. Um, how many people in Sudan do you think are on Facebook or are on any like social media?
It's probably not that many.
Not that many, right? So a lot of people just hear and see the national TV, or they hear the national radio, if any, and they really don't know what's going on. A lot of people don't know that the next step is that we're going to be here at this time. We're going to be there at that time. We want you to come. We want you to, it's very difficult. So it's been more or less a battle of how to get everybody to hear about what's going on and to come. So
Right.
it was a word of mouth mostly, and of course social media did play a big part in. For example, I would say, okay, you have Facebook, you know what's going on, you tell everybody in your neighborhood about the 6th of April. You actually physically get up, okay, knock on doors and tell them. And people have been doing that. You would wake up in the morning and you would have a handwritten piece of paper telling you about this is happening, 6th of April. We all need to go out. We all need to show the world that we're all united and we want this regime to fall. We want it to end, and we want it to end now. We want it to end yesterday.
Right.
Yeah. So we've everybody, like, we've worked, everybody, like the whole Sudanese people have worked really hard to make this the 6th of April a success. And it was, people were speculating, like, we don't know, are they actually going to show up, is everybody going to come, because it's scary.
Right.
You've been in there you've been in this for 4 months. You've been tortured and you've been killed, and you've seen it everywhere, right?
Yeah.
uh, it's
Right.
difficult to actually go and that they know that people are coming on this day, and they are prepared as well as the government. So people were like, we are not afraid anymore. If I'm going to die, I'm going to die speaking up. I'm going to die telling the truth. I'm going to die because I'm asking for my right and the right of my children and the right of my nation. Um, People are not scared anymore, especially the youth. Of course, our fathers and our mothers and the elderly in our society. They're like torn apart, like, okay, you guys go and ask for what's yours, or like, no, you're my children, I want you to live. I don't want you to die, to be killed. Because it's difficult that whenever you just go out and speak your mind, you are threatened with a bullet in your head. It's scary, but Sudanese people were not scared. They went out
Right.
and we had 1 million people.
I can't even imagine. Um,
No.
oh, God, what was I going to ask you? Um, but yeah, so like over the course of these last few months, you did that on the 6th. Have there been other protests before that? And
Daily basis, almost daily basis. The protests have been going on for 4 months. for almost daily basis.
And then,
But there have not been million. Like we wanted it to be a million people at least, right? So this was
yeah,
the wish of every Sudanese person that the 6th of April would be at least a million person, and it was. And we were shocked. Like we were anticipating it. We were not sure. Is it going to happen? Is it not going to happen? And people just showed up at 1 o'clock like rain. They just showed up. It was just crazy. People cried, people danced, people were so happy that everybody was there, united, asking for one thing and one thing only. We want this regime to fall down. That's what we want right now. Okay, we've had
yeah.
enough of these killers killing our children and stealing our land, and they've had enough. They've stolen enough. It's been 30 years.
No,
Okay, it's and yesterday it was even more than a million. Some people say the count is 3 million people in that small spot of land. It's not that big, so it was great. It was fantastic,
no.
glorious.
We saw, at least I saw the article with the military. I remember I was asking you, um, and you looked like they were going to be protecting you. Um, I think you touched a little bit about how it's a little more complicated than that too. Um, in that article, it said there were some people that were actually hiding in I think a Navy base. Are those people still there? Um, what actually happened there?
Okay, so what happens is at night, like after 2 o'clock,
Yeah.
um, 2 in the morning, some people go home,
Hmm.
right? And the head count is less than in the morning and early evening.
Yeah.
So what happens at that time is that we call them an Eman, and there's so much like it's just the security and the special forces and these Al Bashir forces. Let me call them Al Bashir forces would come in and they would start shooting people. I have a personal friend uh, who's her little brother, who just turned 19 in March, this March, was killed by, uh, he was killed with a bullet in his chest, just
Gee.
because he was there. Just because he was there. There was no other reason. He was her only brother. He was the youngest, and they just lost him because he was just standing there. Um, at night. So what happens is when the head count is less, what they tend to do is that they come in and they
Yeah.
start shooting people, and that's when people are most vulnerable because if they're not a lot, if they're not like a lot of people, it's easy for the Al Bashir forces to come in and start shooting people. So what happened is that the forced arms, the Navy, and even I don't know who else, but let's say the Navy, they have protected the protesters and they have opened their gates and asked them to go inside and stay the night there because that's where they have control and that's where they can protect them the most. And in the morning they went out again.
Okay. And that was that actually on the 6th, or was that after that?
That was yesterday.
Okay. I think I have a question here from Gabe too. Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna share the video of this when I restream it on our page. The video of the Christians and the Muslims standing together. You talked a lot about unity. I'm seeing that as a goal everywhere, kind of where
Yeah,
nations.
it is.
Um, what can you tell me a little bit about what divides you guys kind of put together here when you got all these people out?
So, um, Muslims and Christians, Coptics, and all the other types of Christians and all the other types of Muslims have been living together in Sudan in harmony for many years. But when Al Bashir came and his government, as I said before, they tried to do their best, and they did very well achieve that goal into disconnecting people, even culturally, or even um, from let's say a religious uh, view, even between the same faith, like even between the Muslims themselves, right? So the
Yeah,
Muslims, different. So it's the same. So, um, they did. For example, let's say what happened in the south of Sudan. Things have been going really bad. The war was catastrophic. It was horrible.
right.
Millions of people died there, and it was a
Yeah.
war against nothing. Like, I don't see anything like there. What are we fighting for, and what's going on? So in Sudan, but even then, Sudanese people don't have a problem with Coptic, or like Muslims don't have a problem with Coptic or Christians, and them being together today shows how much unity is really important. The Coptic community in Sudan is essential, is is part of us, is they're Sudanese. That there is, I mean, you don't go around asking people in where you live about their faith, right?
No.
You get to know them, right? So this is what's been like. This lady who was in that video is a personal friend of mine, and her daughters and my daughters are best friends. And I never, like, I think I found out that she was Coptic a few months after I was really good friends with her. I had no idea. I didn't know. Like, that was not really a concern to me to even know such a thing. These people are very kind-hearted. They don't really care about the differences. But what Al Bashir tried to do is to create those differences, create them and recreate them and recreate them. And today, Coptic and Southern Sudanese, Northern Sudanese, and Eastern and Western Sudanese are in one place. They look different. They speak different accents. It's just like anywhere in the world. Sudan is a huge country,
Right.
and it doesn't really matter for me. I'm a very global. I personally, uh, I believe in being a global citizen more than in just being a citizen of one part of the world. But even that does not. I mean, that does not stop me from feeling that I love these people. These are my people. I feel love and compassion for each and every one. No matter how they look, no matter what their religion is, and no matter what their political views are. I am not very political. As you can see, from talking to me, I don't really know a lot of the political details, and I don't really care to know. And a lot of people would say, "Why do you talk about politics then?" But this is not politics. What I'm talking about. So this is life. This is our part of life is politics. But politics is not life. It's the opposite. Life, and me being a citizen of the world and a citizen of Sudan, I have the right to speak up. Why do you care, Adam, if I want to ask you, why do you care about what's happening in Sudan? It's like it has no concern to you personally whatsoever, but I'm sure that you care about justice. You care about peace.
Because you
You care
people,
about people.
I mean, to me, that does there need to be more than that to care? How hard is it to care? you know,
Exactly. It's free.
and to like lend an hour or two of my time to maybe even help, like that's an honor. Like that's just awful. You know, I'm
Biggest
lucky to be somewhere where it isn't that bad yet, but and that's why I kind of ask you some of these questions because like we see that here too, government trying to keep people fighting against each other so they don't speak up or watch the TV and it's not like, hey, this is happening in the world. It's stuff to keep you fighting against each other. It's,
exactly.
it's terrible.
It is. It is terrible, and we need to stop it. And I think our generation is going to be different. It's going to be different than our parents' generation,
It has to
because
be.
people are a little bit more. Yeah, it has to. Otherwise, where are we going? Where is this world heading? People are just,
Right.
it's only getting worse and worse. It's not going anywhere. But we have to change that, and our children have to change that. Our children need to build a better society for themselves because the world is one society. There is no difference whatsoever between me as Iman, the Sudanese lady, and you, Adam, the American guy, because we have the same everything. Like we are human beings. We have hearts that beat. We have blood that goes. I mean, my blood is red. Your blood is red. I don't think your blood is pink or something. And we feel the same feelings. We resent. We like. We love. We have passion and compassion. There is no difference. The only differences are in our physical appearance,
Right.
our, let's say, um, cultures, which is really good. People now like to have different cultures and like to know about different cultures and like to embrace different cultures. There is nothing that will put us apart. Nothing. Everything, that any difference that we have will only bring us closer together. And I think the world needs to know that people are more alike than they are different. And even the things that they are different in is a point that you need to explore even more, and
I love it.
get to know a little bit more.
And,
And it's really rich because the world needs to move on. We can't just keep going, falling down. We need to move on. Our generation needs to be aware of what the government, any government, is doing in the world. This is how they. This is just this is how power is. This is what power does to you. Um, we need to be aware of that. We need to be aware of what's called propaganda. I can't believe that people still, until this time, 2019, believe what they hear on national TV. Don't ever believe what you hear on national
don't
TV.
watch it anymore.
Like,
Um,
some people do.
it's terrible. So the president's been in office now 30 years. Everything's corrupt. Does your country have a constitution? Like what is what do you guys have there, kind of like similar to what we do, or are you looking to kind of like have one now?
Well, we do want. I think somebody who's like more aware of the constitution and what it has, somebody who's like more political, can answer that question more accurately.
Yeah.
But what I know about the constitution, that we do have the right to speak our minds. We do have the right to protest. it's
Okay.
it's it's something in
Good.
the constitution, but yet we are shot, killed, captured, and tortured when we are outside protesting.
Right. Um.
So what does the constitution do? Nothing. It does nothing. It depends on who's in power and who runs that. People are going, they captured kids off the streets when they're protesting, and they take them to court. And some kids have been sentenced to 10 years.
Jeez. And
For
now is
what
this
crime? For what is their crime? Their crime is that they go out and they say tasqut bas, and tasqut bas means fall, that's all. Just fall, and that is their crime.
Jeez. And is this new, or is that pretty much how it's always been? Like, if you ever protest, you just go to jail like that, or
It's always been like that. It's not new. No, it's always been like that.
jeez.
It's always been like that. It's horrible. Um, no, no freedom of speech whatsoever. None whatsoever.
And now pretty much everyone's just saying if we're all out there, that, that's really wow.
Like what? Yeah, what's gonna happen? Like if we all go out, well, they can't kill, you know, the whole of Sudanese people.
Right.
We are more than them. You know, if we all
Yeah.
go out, they're just gonna have to surrender. They're just gonna have to give that power to somebody else. I don't know what they. I mean, they are afraid because Al Bashir is wanted, and what's his name? The other one in the military is also wanted, um, and internationally, you know, it's no joke. He's a war criminal. He's a war criminal. This guy who's in power.
Yeah, I think Gabe said that too. That is like he is wanted for like a bunch of really awful things. Like how does he?
A
How is
genocide for bombing and killing villages.
yeah? Like how has he stayed in power? Is there that he pretty much has been like like keeping the media silent and nobody is that I would think for like after all this time like
What to do? Like, let's see. So we've been protesting for 4 months, okay?
yeah,
And he is almost 80 years old, 80. Okay, he's a very old man, and he's still in power. People have been protesting for over 4 months with all they have, with all the power that they have, and he is still in power. Do you think that anything would be able to take this guy out of his chair that he's glued in? No, he just would not leave. He has bought off all the keys. He's bought off all the keys. He's been there long enough to do that.
right.
When he came to power, he was a young boy. You know, he was in his 20s. And now it's just, you know, when you live in a palace and then they just tell you, okay, you need to go to jail now, you need to go, you know, live in the streets, you're not going to leave easily. You're going to fight these people who are taking you off. To him, it's to him and to his keys, not just to him, to the whole of the government. It's not as easy as just, you know, surrendering or just giving the power to somebody else and saying, okay, I'm just going to go and live, you know, in an island somewhere for the rest of my life. No, he is wanted. He's wanted. If he steps, you know, out of Sudan, where is he going to go? He's going to go to jail. That if he can escape and go and get out, because we do not want him to escape. We want him to be, you know, imprisoned until there's, you know, until he goes to court and he gets what he deserves.
Right. Now, I was reading in one of the articles he sent me too. It said, I think they called it like transitional government. Does the ASP kind of have like a plan of what they'd like to see happen? You know, if
Right, they
and when
do.
it works, basically.
Yep, they do. They actually today they have released it was not just a press conference, but it was one of the members was in Al Qiyada, which is in where the all the people are, and he did give papers to the military with everything that we want as people and as the Professional Sudanese Association. And what it says, more or less, is that we want you guys to take care of Al Bashir and his government, take the keys from them, and give it to us. So it's now in your hands. So they have given it to the military. It is now in the military's hand to actually speak on their behalf with the current government, so they can hand over the power to them as a transitional government until uh, I don't know how they do these things until
Essentially like an election, really. Now,
elections do happen, because electing a new president is not something that happens overnight. It needs, you need to
yeah,
have people that run and elections and stuff like that. So what they want to do is they want to take control of the country until there are elections and make sure that these elections are, you know, uh,
and this would be naturally more than just him too, right? Because I mean, you were talking about how there's lots of problems everywhere. So, is there an idea of like other people that you'd like to see replaced with somebody the people want? How I don't really know how your government is set up there.
it's more or less the same. They just need to do the elections, and there have to be many people. We don't want one party. This is one of the most important things, that Sudanese people don't want one party government. We want a multi-party government. We want somebody who's from every um, party that represents
Like
some of
different
people.
opinions, you know.
Yeah, different opinions, exactly. So because the Bashir government has been one party government, and it is under the dictatorship, the Muslim Brotherhood. They have killed people in the name of religion. They have done crimes in the name of religion, and we don't want only one party. We need to have a balance, as you said, for different opinions from everybody in that government. But as I said before, I am not a political person. I don't know how exactly it runs, but what we want is democracy,
Yeah,
right? We want democracy, and what we want is for the Sudanese people to have the chance to run an election, okay? And they need to be responsible enough and actually go elect somebody. And when they do elect somebody, they need to, bear with this person who's going to come and, you know, with no foundation whatsoever, build whatever that, not just build, actually, try to uh, retouch what's happened in Sudan over the last 30 years, and be aware that this is not going to happen overnight, but at least we need to have an election, and people need to choose themselves.
right. So there's a lot of censorship coming out. What's it like coming in? Like what do you guys hear of like the rest of the world? Uh,
I didn't get that.
so like if like on your news in your country, do you hear much about what's happening in the rest of the world? Um, I was curious if you'd heard anything about
Yeah,
what was going on in France with the yellow vests and how the same sort of uprisings kind of spread throughout a lot of Europe, and it's almost like it's in the air.
it is in the air. It is in the air. We're very happy with that as well. Yes, we've heard of what's happening. And it's actually, remember what happened in France? It was around the same time when it happened in Sudan. When did it happen in France again? Do you remember? When it started?
November, I think it was.
Yeah, so it was around the same time, because we were like, okay, so which news do we, see first? So it was very, and it was very strange because everybody knew about the yellow vest in France, but there was no news whatsoever about Sudan. We were like, hello, we're here too. This is happening here too. It's just because we don't have yellow vests, nobody sees us. What should we do?
Like my mind was blown. I was like, no way, this has been going on there this whole time. Well,
Sudanese people have been protesting outside of Sudan as well, near ministries. So all the ministries in all of Europe had protests from Sudanese people. In America, there's been a huge protest in Washington D.C. in front of the White House that Sudanese people have they flew from different cities. They attended it. So the Sudanese people are really, really raising their voice. They're really trying their best, but still, it's not out there yet because it's in the hands of the media. If the media want something to be highlighted, they would highlight it.
Yeah, and I think that's what Gabe was trying to get off the ground was where we can spread stuff online to all these other countries. And I mean, now we've got yellow vests all throughout Europe, and let's get some people trying to actually stand up at all of that. I don't know if it's the embassy, and it's actually to hear you guys out. I don't know. I don't know what would actually happen, but I at least want people to know. I mean, gosh.
People need to know. I mean, we have gone past the we need help period. We've done it alone. We've had no help. We've had actually the opposite. All the Arab, African, European, American, Asian, like the whole world was against us. Like nobody cared enough to put us in his news. And a lot of other governments have been actually with al-Bashir, and they wanted him to stay in power because they personally had a lot of interests of him being in power. Because apparently he sold off Sudan to this country and that. So a lot of people did, and he sold off our army to fight in Yemen, and he's just done everything that is. It's just unbelievable. Like, I don't even know what to say. It's unbelievable what this man has done. So a lot of people have supported him, but Sudanese people, even with that support of the world to al-Bashir, even if the support, even if this support was indirectly, but it is by not raising our voices in the media that's even supporting him. It's not because when people know that the media is going to be airing them killing people in the streets with gunfires, they would be more careful of actually killing people in the streets with gunfires, right? But when you know that nobody really cares about what's happening in Sudan, in your country, you would really kill. You'd be out there killing people. You wouldn't really care. So the whole world was against us. Sudanese people have stood for 4 months. We are actually now winning the battle.
Right.
We are 100% sure that we are winning. We are 1,000% sure that we are winning this battle. He is going to step down. It is going to happen. He is going to be forced down. I don't know if he's going to step down, if he's going to be forced down. All I know is that this government has ended already. It's done. It does not exist to us anymore. This is finished. There is no way. We'd rather all die. Like, we would rather have no Sudan on earth than to have al-Bashir as our government.
Now, like, within like the scope of this revolution, like, I know our media here, it seems like it's all just targeted to keep us like fighting within our own communities even. What's that like over there? Because it looked to me just like France. Everyone's outside. uh, how did you get to the point where defied the propaganda and stood together despite differences in how you guys different communities look at things?
Very, very difficult. It was very, very, very difficult because people had nothing. We had no TV, we had no radio, we have nothing to be spreading our voices to the Sudanese people, to the 40 million people. The very simple people have no idea. So it was difficult. It was a lot of thinking, a lot of working together, a lot of WhatsApp groups, a lot of Facebook groups, a lot of Twitter trends, a lot of work to make our own media, not just on social media, but actually, as I said before, for people to actually be um, influencing and telling and informing and um, upbringing people to what's going on in Sudan in I don't know, in the buses, on the streets, anywhere. Some people would actually go on trips to remote places in Khartoum and in other cities as well, to go to these cities, to these villages, and tell the people. They would actually physically get up, go on a bus, buy a ticket, and actually go there to tell them about what's going on. It was very difficult, but
Right.
people did it because it
And
was
now,
that important to them.
like within your movement, you say you guys want democracy, you want to vote for officials. We hear a lot about Sharia law over here. How does that play into your push for democracy? Uh, do you guys want that? Do you not want that? Or is that where like the multiple party system comes in, where there's a group that does, and you just vote?
Right. So yes, of course, there's a group that does want Sharia law and some don't. In my opinion, that is where it comes handy to have multiple parties in the government. And Sharia law is not bad. It's actually very good Sharia. It's how they interpret the law and how they actually execute the law is what's bad. So it's just like when I mean, I don't want to give examples, but it's when you say our law is that if somebody commits suicide, uh, they would be not buried. For example, we would just toss them at sea or something. If this is a law, some people would say, okay, not buried does not mean tossed at sea. You know what I mean? People misinterpret things
Right.
and miscommunicate and what's the word? It's not about the law. It's about the people. It's about how they use Sharia law. Sharia law is just it's a law just like any other law.
Well, any law can be used to hurt people. At the end of the day, that's what I see here. Even with our legal system, we have a constitution, and laws have been written over the last couple hundred years, and people are hurt by them all the time. They're used wrong, or
They're used wrong. And that was like what I was going to get at with my example. I couldn't say it, that it's not about the law itself. It's about how you use this law, and it's about the people who are using this law. It's the same as any other law. So in Sudan, some people are pro and some people are against. Um, And some people are indifferent. It's like, okay, whichever law, I just want the just law. Doesn't matter what the name of the law is. Um, so these people need to sit down, and they need to come up with something that is okay for everybody.
So really, like, you had things a certain way for 30 years, and you haven't. It sounds like no one's had any say in anything. So, like, in this whole push and this revolution, really, you guys want to sit at the table and say, "Hey, here, let's change a lot of this stuff so everyone can be happy with, not just who's in office, but like what laws you have, and maybe even like, do you guys pay taxes in your country? What's it like, financially too?
Do we pay anything else but taxes?
Yeah, like and within like your like country's economy, do you guys like how is that? It sounds like really you have things in every area of your society that need to be changed, not just the laws.
One of the most important parts of the society is the economy. If you have a bad economy, you would have people who are frustrated people, frustrated youth, frustrated mothers and fathers who can't feed their children, who can't, take their children to get medical care, would be really, really frustrated. And that would just only lead to crime. So
I I
society
can't
has
hear
to
you.
change.
Hold
You
on,
can't hear me?
just died. Sorry.
Okay. No worries. Can you hear me now?
Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Can I hear you now? Are you there?
I'm here. Have you lost me?
I don't know why I just lost the audio. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna just weird. I don't know why it's doing that. Um, let me restart this. Um, no,
Do you need to restart it? Well, he can't hear me.
I don't. I don't understand. It should be playing.
Okay. So everybody else can hear me.
Uh, I don't know what. I can't hear you.
Okay. Maybe plug and unplug again. Okay, Pam says she hears us both. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to answer some of your questions. Let's wait for until Adam can find my voice again.
Still nothing.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and restart it. Maybe that'll do it.
We'll be off
It
air
should be
then.
connected.
If I support Trump. Okay, Pam, do you support Trump?
Oh,
Okay. All right.
I don't know
We'll
how
do
to
answer
fix
each
that.
other's questions, Bill.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry, David. I just didn't know what to do, but okay. I'll continue. Just if you guys have any questions, do ask me. Uh, and I'll try to just answer them directly. Thing is, if Adam runs the restart, he will like the whole live will drop.
You can sit there again if you want. I'm done with this for now if you want to.
Can I said something about children? How are the children acting? You mean the? I don't get your question. Pam, of
All
course
right.
I do not support
No,
Trump. I don't even know if anybody in the world does. I think the only people who support Trump are the people who elected Trump.
well, I think they can hear you. Um,
Yeah, they can.
so I can't. Gabe said to ask more about the oppression and the people that the millions that Bashir has killed over the years. While I try and fix the audio, could you maybe fill in some of the new viewers a bit on the history of what's happened while he's been in power?
Okay. Um, so what's been going on in Sudan for many years, over 30 years now, is that, as I said before, he's been dividing the Bashir and his government have been dividing people, and the world is everybody in the world is fighting racism, except for Al Bashir and his government. They have been feeding racism to the Sudanese people, because they don't want us to be united, and that is attacking Darfur and killing the people of Darfur brutally there. Not just killing, actually bombing the whole village and wiping it off the map was a piece of cake to him. It wasn't a big deal because they are different. They are not us. They don't look like us. They want to have a voice. How dare they? You know. So he killed millions. Let's say, let me not exaggerate. Let me say thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of people in Darfur and in Al Nuba as well. Um, and he's been doing that for one main reason, is to, like all dictators, get us to be apart, not united. Unity is very powerful, and they know that. The governments, the dictatorships, they know that unity is very powerful, and that is one of the reasons that development is not really important to them. They would have one teeny or two teeny tiny roads connecting the cities of any country, and this is the case in Sudan. They would have a few roads, okay, here and there, very teeny, very dangerous, very narrow roads connecting cities, because this is big enough for them to have, their weapons and their whatever, a little bit of trade from between here and there, but it's not big enough for people to travel and come and go easily, so people can, grow as people and get united. So yes, so he's been a horrible dictatorship, and he's, I think, as bad as Hitler, and as bad as all of them. They're all the same. They're all the same. He is no different than any other dictatorship. Uh, for what, Pam? What am I not answering? For what, Pam? What am I not answering? You can hear me now. I can hear my voice. For what, Pam? What am I not answering? You can hear me now. I can hear my voice. For what, Pam? What am I not answering?
I think Pam wants to know what group you're representing. I think Pam wants to know. Wait. Is Gabe on there? Okay. I can't get the audio to work.
Okay, Lisa's asking, racism between who? Racism between the Sudanese people, between ourselves. Lisa, I don't know where you live, but can you maybe put yourselves in my shoes, or in our shoes? Where you live or where you come from, do you see that there is no racism between
Can you
the
maybe
same
put
group of
yourself in
people?
my shoes, or in our shoes? Where you live or where you come from, do you see that there is no racism?
Gabe. Okay. So I guess to pick back up then, it looks like some people want to know more about the ASP. Um, I can hear you on my phone now.
Okay.
I can't hear you on my computer, but I think this will work. Can you tell me a little bit more about like the structure of that? 'Cause it looks like it's everybody. Did you, combine different groups that had been protesting previously? Um, how did that come to be?
You mean the Sudanese Professional Association? Is that what you're asking about?
Yeah, like the group that, yeah, the American Professional Association, like where the, yeah, I, I know that there were some professionals that you said, like doctors that helped get that together. But like, there's obviously been protests before that. Did you kind of merge a bunch of groups together when you got this big thing? Is that like kind of the same thing?
Right. So the Sudanese Professional Association was something that they form by themselves secretly, right? We don't even know until this day. We don't know who they are. We don't know who they are. Okay, they just call themselves the Sudanese Professional Association, but we don't know one face. Like we can't put a face to them because there are different people who are from different professions. Some of them have political parties, some of them don't. Right? So there are very, very different people who have come together. Some people say that they have started getting together or started this movement going on since 2013, and some people say they don't. We don't know for certain 100%, but I don't really care when they started. But what I know that they did start, and they have been leading people anonymously. We don't know who they are. We have seen representatives of them here and there. Some of them have come out speaking in their names, but we don't know who they are, and we don't know who is involved and who isn't. Right? So they are a party of professionals, political and non-political people who have formed a group together secretly. Why secretly? Is because if they have said, okay, this is me. If I have said, for example, if I said, okay, I am Eman and I am the creator or co-creator or the president of the Sudanese Professional Association, what is going to happen to me?
Right. And it looks like it's really everybody too. Whoever the this professional association is, it kind of looks like here, where something motivates everybody to go out, but it's just everybody. Um, so that's really good to see. Everybody's standing up like that to, get the power back in the people's hands. Um, so, you know, moving forward, I guess my next question would be what, like, is everybody pretty much just like out there in the street, protesting every day until something changes, or that that's pretty much where you.
That's the plan. People are now in solidarity, so they are in Al Qiyada, where everybody is together in front of the military buildings. They have started people today and yesterday were coming with their sleeping bags. People were coming with their suitcases packed because they were not leaving. Some people have donated tents. Um, some people have donated toilets. Some people have donated food and water, and people are trying as hard as they can to live a decent, let's say, decent life, staying there, pretty much like what happened in Al Tahrir in Egypt before, where they just stay there and they don't leave until he leaves.
Somebody asked a question here in the feed about the pollution problem in Sudan. I I haven't even heard about that. They said there was an initial cyber attack that maybe had opposition to the policies. Do you know anything about that?
Which one? There were many cyber attacks. I don't know which one they're talking about, but I don't know details about them. All we hear is that there've been cyber attacks, and some people have tried to hack the government's systems, and I think some people were successful in that. But nothing really major. These are really, really small things that just happen. People don't really pay a lot of attention to it. But about the pollution of I have no idea what she's talking about or what he's talking about. Sudan is a polluted place. Garbage sits in front of your house for months, for days. We were drowning in garbage before this happened. People were drowning in garbage because the government does not have trucks anymore. Whatever happened to the trucks, I don't know. Okay, they don't have trucks anymore. They don't just come and collect the garbage anymore. And when they do, what do they do to the garbage? Take it somewhere far away, okay, and they put it on fire. This is what happens. This is the normal thing. This is what when I lived in Sudan as a child, I know the smell of burning garbage. I know it. It's been happening
Jesus.
there for ages.
As a child, I know the smell of burning garbage. I know it.
So I just want to give you a little story. I just remember now happened about 2 weeks ago.
Now, so like, did has anything changed with that? You said they were burnt.
No change. Nothing's going to change ever. If the government doesn't change, nothing is going to change.
With that, you said they're burnt.
Ever. The government doesn't change.
So, I guess too, like within the scope of like everything that the people are asking for, you've touched a bit on the voting, the democracy, electing people. What are some of the other things that people are looking to see change that people in other countries that haven't heard about this might want to know?
So Adam, you asked me about economy, how the economy is changing before the sound went off, and I'm going to tell you just a little story that happened about 2 weeks ago. And from this story, you can judge how the economy is happening, is going on in Sudan. So 2 weeks ago, children, about 6 or 8, I can't remember the exact number, 6 or 8 children, very, very young. I'm talking about 7 years old, 8 years old, 9-year-olds, and 10-year-olds. I'm talking about very young children here. We're playing somewhere in the suburbs, let's say, the suburbs of Khartoum, of Omdurman. And they found something that looked metal. So they took that metal thing when they were playing in the streets. They found this metal thing, buried in the streets somewhere, because it's dusty and all. They took this metal thing and they went home. Okay. They wanted to sell this metal thing to get money. The children wanted to sell, so they tried to deassemble it. And what happened is that metal thing was a bomb. It exploded, and they all died.
Jesus. That's and for me, it's just seeing all this stuff on the TV. The little bit that we do see on the TV or hear about, all the bombs and the dying and the death. It's like I want to see this kind of stuff stop in the world finally. And I don't even live over there, so it's really good that you guys are finally standing up and saying like this all needs to stop.
It all needs to stop now. So Pam is asking me who I'm representing, and maybe she wasn't here from the beginning of this live video streaming. I do not present or represent anyone. I only represent myself, because I'm only um, one of the people. I'm just I'm just a normal person with no political views. And I said at the beginning of the streaming that I don't even like politics, and I would not even listen to the news. I would just change it. And if I hear anything, and even if something big is happening in the world, I would tell anyone around me, please don't tell me. I really can't take it anymore. Nothing is changing. I hated politics. I um, I now was forced to know all these details because it's happening in my country. It's happening to my people, and I found out that no, Iman, you need to be aware of what's going on in the world. I started reading a little bit about this and about that and about World War II and about, because it's all connected. I believe that history is just everything that is happening now has happened before somewhere in the world, right? So I think that when I was looking for a solution, when I was thinking, okay, what should I suggest to the Sunni people do? What do we? How do we get out of this, rat
Right.
race that we're trying to we're trying to speak up. Nobody's helping us, and they're not leaving. Like they're still there. They will never leave. Like what can we do? And then just looking at history and reading about it, and learning a little bit about capitalism, and what is liberalism, and what is like all of these fancy words that I didn't even like care to know about. It has opened my eyes to see that there is hope. Like the world has been through this before. Somewhere, somebody, some nation, at some point of time, has been through what Sudan is going through right now. And this is history. And what history had taught me is that even if it is for a short period of time, what is right is going to win. What is good is going to happen. Evil does not last forever. And that has given me hope. And that's how, in my heart, I know that this regime is dead, is finished. It's time for a new one. I don't know how good or how bad the new one is going to be, but I think this is going to be another test for the Sudanese people. Are you going to be responsible enough to vote for the right person or not? Are you going to be responsible enough to ask for your rights? Even you don't expect your rights to be given to you. You need to ask for your rights. You need to speak up. You need to fight for it. You need to be aware that you cannot get something that you don't ask for.
And I'm looking at some of these, and I'm looking at some of these comments too. Yeah, I don't know if everybody here is aware that we're actually talking about Sudan. We're not. We're talking about your country, not ours, right now. When we're talking about the rights, like you've probably been suffering much worse denial of rights than we see here right now. So I'm sorry to interrupt you there.
No,
But
it's all right.
yeah, I really would like to see you guys finally have some fairness in what's happening over there. Gabe wanted me to, mention or ask you a bit too about, how much danger are you actually even in trying to speak out about, what's happening there? It, we don't hear a lot. Is there a history about people when they try and speak out? Um, do a lot of people, other than you, or
A lot, a lot. Believe me, this revolution has been um, new people up, and it brought up people that we didn't know existed before, Sudanese people. We have now so many influencers. We have now so many leadership that we look up for as well, up to. And this has been like the most informative 4 months of my life, and I'm sure it's been like this for others as well. What I've learned in these 4 months and what we have learned as a nation, as Sudanese nation, um, is really priceless. It's not worth what the people have been killed and the blood that has been shed, and the children and the mothers who don't even have time and don't even have the power to grieve their children, because when they do have somebody die, they go to their family and they bomb where people go and give their condolences. This is how bad this is. This is how um, unjust and unfair. And this is what makes us feel that okay, we are we are not going back. We are like in the middle of the sea now. If we don't swim to the shore, we were going to just drown. We weren't. So it's been a very nice journey. It's been a very, as I said, a powerful journey. It's been and it still is, and it's been a hard journey. It was mixed with fear, with sorrow, with hope, with all of these emotions that you can maybe your generation in your country has not experienced. And I never thought I would experience it, because we always heard of this or saw this in movies and things that happened before our time, when there were actual wars and actual um, yeah, and it's not like us, not like now cold wars, but we actually revolutions. There are actual revolutions, and it's in the air, as you said before, Adam, and it's spreading. People have had enough, and people all over the world have had enough, not just in Sudan.
yeah, no, and that's what we've seen all across Europe. At least that I've been seeing. It was the same issue too when France happened. They cut all the feed out. We didn't see it on the news. It started coming through on the internet, and that's the UK, Italy, Ireland. We started to see this kind of same kind of thing everywhere. And every country is a different issue. But it's a good thing for me to see in some of the countries where it's really bad. At like you know I worried a lot. When I was younger, a lot. You'd hear about Africa or the Middle East, parts of Asia, and my heart would go out to these people. That didn't have it. The way we did growing up, or it it was harder, or people were killed, or uh, you know that list goes on for quite a while.
Yeah.
It's really, I'm just happy that something might actually change because, that's how I see it here. There's plenty of issues here too that, I don't feel like we can afford to wait on. That we all need to get out there and start doing something. And I can really relate to that. And on our media, it keeps us very divided, and it's a huge roadblock to getting a united body to make some changes that are better for the people. Um, so you know that you know it, it's places like France and you guys that are really standing up to some really scary stuff, so people can be free. That's like that empowers me. Uh, Power doesn't like to give it up when it gets too much. I don't think.
I think you're right. It's in Venezuela as well, and it's very difficult when you can't speak. People can't live when they can't speak for long. When you can't say what's on your mind, um, it's very frustrating, and that frustration will build on, and eventually it will just people will have to uprise. People will have to. A revolution is going to happen if your right to speak has been taken away from you. It's happening. It has to happen, and that is why these dictatorships tend to divide people. And a lot, I see some questions here in the feed that is what kind of division uh, is the sheer government working on? Is it race or religion? It's both, and it's more. At the beginning of the live, I said to you, like I would not be shocked if I see that they're promoting a um, racism or like some kind of division between tall people and short people. I would not be surprised. Okay, because anything in the world, anything that you see that this is a difference between this person and this person, or this tribe and this
Right?
tribe. I'm thinking about tribes as well. Okay, I see somebody else is with us just now, and that's what they would do. They would divide you.
Yeah, and still trying to get Gabe in here from earlier.
He's here. I can see him. I don't know if he can hear us. Hello.
I see him, but yeah, no, it's that divide and conquer. It doesn't
Absolutely.
have. They can be on a big scale or a small scale, but we all. It's a very old tactic. History repeats itself. I think that read somewhere that actually dates back to like Julius Caesar, and that's one of the
Hmm.
ways most, either a group or a single person stays in power for a really long time is by making all the people fight each other.
Right, right. And it's not it doesn't stay in like, okay, one race or even one religion. Like even the same religion, they would divide them. Even in the same religion. And I think this is one of the like strengths of them. Like, okay, um it's a bit difficult to make or it's very easy to make Christians and Muslims fight in one country when they don't live in harmony. Uh, but it would be even powerful if we divide the same people, like divide the Muslims amongst themselves and divide the Christians among themselves and make them fight each other, and then all of them fight together. So nobody is in peace ever. And that is what they want. That is what they want. Anywhere, not just in Sudan, but especially in Sudan.
right? Um, Trying to think of what else to cover. So I know Gabe mentioned wanting to try and get some help worldwide. If there was something, like a message uh, to the world from Sudan, like what, we've talked a lot on the movement. You guys are pretty much out there every day. Uh, France has their movement for the Rick. Um, I'm curious, I guess, as to
Algeria.
uh, if I were to tell my friend, hey, like the people in Sudan are standing up, they want this, obviously democracy. What would be the message, like, to tell people, that everything's censored. Um, we're not seeing much.
Okay.
I don't. It's a bad question, I guess. But yeah,
Yeah, question.
because I
If
know
I
we want to try and get at the embassies around the world, people speaking up. Like why won't you show this on the news? Yeah, what can be done to ha- get a fair government established here? How do we do that? And I mean, we've hit on it a little bit too. Um, what are your hopes to see happen? In the coming like days or weeks.
so if I have okay, let me answer the question that you had right now about what I want to see. In the next days, no, I want to see in the next hours. I want it to be as soon as possible, and so does the whole of Sudan, uh, to see this government fall. We need them to go as soon as possible because the more they stay in power, the more people would die. They would leave eventually, but the sooner it happens, the less people will get. Like we've had enough deaths, right? So it's I think enough deaths is that's enough. So we want them to leave like now. We want them to go now or yesterday. And this is my hope. And my hope is for Sudanese people to learn from their mistakes before, from not speaking up, to learn not to be afraid, and to learn democracy. Democracy is not easy. Democracy is not perfect. Democracy does not mean uh, fair. Democracy does not mean you get what you want. Democracy is not um, it's not perfect. It's not an angel. It is something that people work on and work with and work around. And it's difficult, but we need to learn how to live by democracy. And democracy means responsibility. People need to vote. People need to know that their vote does count as well. So this is my hopes for my country to have a fair government, a democratic government, and to have people live a decent life. People live a decent life. My hopes and my dreams for Sudan is for it to fulfill its full potential. Sudan is an extremely rich country. It has the natural resources in Sudan are unbelievable, and people can live and have other people live in Sudan with no problems whatsoever. So my hopes and dreams is to have a country that is united, that is fair and just for everyone, not just for Sudanese people, for everyone. Um, for what I want to do to the world is that I want you to not take what you have for granted. Okay, freedom is the greatest gift. So if you have freedom, you have a lot. The freedom of speech. If you have the ability and the privilege to just, it's not a privilege, it's actually it's your right to be able to go out in the streets and talk about your government
Mhm.
and not be afraid for your life or for gunshots to be, coming through your head. That is a blessing. So you need to know that it's really precious. People are dying for that. And the other thing is that please learn from Sudan that and from the Sudanese people that even though this looks like an impossible situation, and it looks like it's we're never going to get our democracy, and this regime is just killing people who are speaking up, and that you, one person, cannot do anything by yourself. Learn from them that we have. And consistency is really key here because we have been protesting almost every single day for 4 months. And this is extremely hard. This means you don't get to eat, you don't get to sleep, don't get to nap, you don't get to go to school, or you don't get to have your normal life, you don't get to hang out with your friends, you don't get to, I don't know, sit down with your family, have a cup of tea. It's difficult. It's a very disturbed life. It's like you don't live. Like you sleep, you dream about this when in reality you wake up to people are imprisoned or people are dead. It's not easy. It's like your whole life is on hold. Whole life is on hold, and you're still there. You're frustrated, you're angry, you're emotionally all over the place, but you are standing still and you are peaceful. Peace is so hard. Peace is very difficult. It's so easy to just go out and be violent. It's very difficult to hold yourself back and be peaceful. It's very difficult. And Sudanese people have been very, extremely peaceful for the past 4 months, despite every attempt of the government to not just piss them off, but actually kill them out. They take them out. And we have done it. The regime is going to fall any minute now. We are now into the stage that is, we call it the, like, they're taking their last breath. That's it. There is no way for them. There is no way that they're not going to go. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of hours. It's a matter of days. It's not more than that. So again, two things. Don't take your freedom for granted. Appreciate it, what you have, and learn that you need to be consistent and you need to be patient and you need to be peaceful, and anything is possible.
Okay. So everyone wants to see the videos. I'm gonna try and do that screen share thing here. I haven't done that before. Um, so I'm gonna try that now. So it'll let me play the videos that Shar is talking about in the comments, the ones you sent. Okay.
My name. Thank you so much.
There we go. I'm gonna hide us for a second and play some of these videos.
aftermath of going into such risky procedure. With that being said, the Sudanese masses practice their constitutional right of expressing themselves freely and peacefully. We're currently having full doctors. My name is Hisham Noor. I'm a Sudanese activist and one of many people who are uprising against the dictatorship of Omar al-Bashir and his criminal regime. I'm recording this video to show you how bad the situation is in Sudan, especially that I might not have another chance to record this after being threatened to be killed and lynched in public for letting people know about their constitutional right. That is my only crime, which I'm proud of. On December 19th, 2018, Sudanese people got together and peacefully demanded the Sudanese government to reconsider their reckless economic decisions that have been damaging the citizens of Sudan. Ever since Marquez Musa took over two governmental positions simultaneously in an unprecedented event where he was assigned as a prime minister as well as the minister of finance, the prices of bread, main food supplies, and medications have doubled, and so has the inflation rate, not to mention that they're on their way to lift subsidy of all products. And to make matter worse, we can't cash out our money given the fact that the Sudanese government has set the daily withdrawal limit at 1,000 Sudanese pounds max, which is around $20 or less. Because apparently banks all of a sudden have run out of money and not a single press conference was held to let us know where all the money went. So for the reasons mentioned, Sudanese people could no longer bear the excessive everyday life struggles, and economists anticipated imminent famine and a financial crisis, and so was the case indeed. I mean, the inflation rate has gone up so high that the Sudanese government has recently printed new banknotes of hundreds and 200s with no regards to the aftermath of going into such risky procedure. With that being said, the Sudanese masses practice their constitutional right of expressing themselves freely and peacefully. We're currently having full doctors and pharmacists strike. Lawyers, engineers, and respectable professors also demonstrated against the government for the miserable situations they put us in. Yet the criminal regime in Sudan chose to suppress unarmed protesters with their heavy weapons, resulting in over 52 deceased citizens over the course of 6 weeks. Most of them are only boys under the age of 24, let alone the hundreds of detainees of both genders whose backs were extremely injured by cruel whipping. Two boys lost their hands. A young man and a woman lost their right eye. A doctor was shot 14 times for treating injured protesters. A teacher was tortured to death by sticking a metal object of 52 centimeters long up his bottom, and to top it off, he was brutally beaten until his kidneys totally stopped functioning. I personally cannot leave my house. I can't meet my friends. I can't even get together with my family. I can't practice my constitutional right. I can't even pray in the mosque. I'm really worried about my own safety. My aunt was pulled over by a woman that works for the government who threatened her to have her 3 children killed if she doesn't give me away. And she's only given 1 week to do so. So that's why I'm desperately recording this video, begging the UN, the foreign embassies in Sudan, the human rights organizations, and every other organization that has devoted itself to protect the rights of human beings, and even active individuals like George and Amal Clooney, that I hereby kindly ask you to step in and spotlight our issue with no further delays to help us to put an end to this criminal, unlawful, and non-humanitarian regime, for we are slowly being driven to a genocide for only asking peacefully to be given back our dignity as individuals, as people, as humans. I also urge Al Jazeera, CNN, BBC, Fox News, DW, Al Arabiya, Al Sharq, NBC, the New York Times to fulfill the professional standards and ethics of journalism and media, to reach out to the rest of the world, holding up our voices, the masses' voices that you swore to protect, foster, and deliver, so we can make the world better, more civilized, safer, and dictators free. We have another march coming up on Thursday, February 7th, which is tomorrow. It's located at the Arabic Market at 1 o'clock. Help us not to get killed in the streets. And to my people, tasgud bas, and that is all. It must fall.
بالراحة بالراحة. هذه المجزرة ديار العالم. يا جماعة داخل مستشفى أم درمان الطوارئ، داخل مستشفى أم درمان الطوارئ، دخول جهاز الأمن يا جماعة داخل المستشفى، واستخدام الرصاص الحي واستخدام البومبان يا جماعة داخل المستشفى. ليه؟ ليه؟ ليه يا جماعة؟ ليه؟ ليه يا جماعة الحكومة تعمل كده؟ ليه؟ ناس في حالة أزمة، عيانين، إصابات بالرصاص، إصابات بالبومبان، ما صح يا جماعة. والله لن نسكت بعد هذا اليوم، والله لن نسكت بعد هذه المحزنة. هذه مجزرة، هذه مجزرة لم يفعلها الجبابرة في العالم، يفعلها هذا. يا جماعة لا يا جماعة، والله يا جماعة الكلام ده حرام 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 حبيبي.
right to have food, water, and education, and medical care when I get sick. These are the basic rights that many children in Sudan don't have. Actually, many children in Sudan are being arrested, tortured, and even killed for no reason whatsoever. The media isn't talking about this. Everyone needs to know. Stop killing the children of Sudan. لازم تسقط بس.
This is a message to the world. This is a message to you. People in Sudan have been protesting for the past 3 months. They have been asking al-Bashir and his government to step down. Al-Bashir has been president for 30 years. He has killed millions of people in Darfur and elsewhere. And now he's killing innocent protesters in the streets of Sudan. Their only crime is that they've been asking peacefully for their rights. Nobody is talking about this. We need your help to raise our voice. People need to start talking about what's happening in Sudan. لازم تسقط بس.
I'm gonna bring us back on here to, I guess, close this out. We've been on here for like 2 hours. I just wanted to see if you had any last things to say. I think those videos, oh God, that makes me tear up, and that's just so awful that you guys are.
This is just a drop in the ocean. This is really nothing. I mean, there are so many more videos that if you saw them, you would just couldn't sleep for days. And it's been going on for a long time. Now, we really, I think our most powerful weapon is knowledge, and people just need to know. I think we are past in Sudan. We are past that that stage of our revolution that we need help from anyone. We've gone this far, swimming against the what do you call it? Swimming against forgot. Anyway, so we were all alone. The whole world was against us. Nobody supported us, and we've gone this far. So we've passed the stage for asking for help. But what we really want is for the people to know, people of the world to know that we are people just like they are. We have the same feelings. We have the same needs. We have the same hopes. We have the same dreams. And what we really want is for people to learn that if we can do it, then anyone can do it. And we did it, and we've gone this far. And there is because what happens is usually wars come up from these things, right? From revolutions, wars, and that happens when violence is there. So we've gone this far with our peaceful revolution, and the key point is peaceful. This is peaceful, and just, peaceful is difficult, but peaceful is right. Peaceful is what gets you there. Know how to speak to each other. Know how to listen to each other. Don't believe propaganda, and believe in your right. Believe in yourselves. Believe in your differences. Love your differences. Learn from your differences. Embrace your differences. We are very far away. We have never met each other. We have never known each other before, me and you, Adam. Yet we are now, as two human beings, concerned about a human thing. We need to be human beings. We shall learn to love each other. Even if there are haters in there, forget about the haters. Love them back. Love them back. they will eventually, because you're nice enough, because you're good enough. But being nice does not mean that you should not ask for your rights or know them. There's a difference. There's a fine line between being a good person and between being a quiet person who just is giving their rights away, and the rights of their children, the further generations. Let's try to consider, let's try to save this our planet. Like, let's try to save it. It's not only from global warming, it's also from people warming too much. They're going to rust. It's too much. It's too much what's happening in the world. We want a better world for our children. I think everybody here wants a better word for their children. Let's get together. Let's learn from each other's mistakes, and let's learn from each other's successes, and embrace our differences, and live peacefully together. It's a big world. Everybody can live together peacefully. Support us by raising awareness. That's all we want. Support us by raising awareness of what's happening in Sudan.
Right. Well, after I sign off here, I'm going to restream this on our page, and hopefully we can get a lot more attention on what's going on over there. Because you know, you guys deserve to be free.
We all do.
And thank you so much for, taking the time to come on and talk about what's happening, and share some videos, and hopefully we can stay in touch and keep the attention on it.
Absolutely. Thank you, and thank you to everybody who's given us their time and attention, and actually watched this very serious, very heartbreaking video that people don't really. It's not everybody's cup of tea. But thank you to everyone in this live stream, and to you guys for actually reaching out and caring. And caring about what's happening in the world, and what's happening in Sudan. And we will be in touch. And the only thing that keeps everybody going is hope, and we hope for the best. We just hope for the best.
All right. Well, then I guess we will talk soon. Have a
Okay.
good night, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you so much.